Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Nahmadu wa nasalli ala Rasuli Kareem. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to this series on fiqh and the fundamental deen according to the madhab Imam Ahmad Muhammad rahmatullah. It's been a while since we've done the recording. Today's recording lesson will be regarding ghusl and tayammum. Ghusl is a purificatory bath or a shower, and it's sometimes it's sunnah and sometimes it's fard from janaba, from intercourse, from wet dream. It's fard for a lady that comes out of hayd or nifas. It's compulsory to take a ghusl, a bath. And it has certain fara'id, wajibat, sunnahs, and preconditions or shurut or conditions or prerequisites. As for the and so this is a continuation in tahara, purification. The first thing regarding the fard act, there's only one fard act, that is to wash the whole body with intention to wash the water covers and encompasses the whole body. You wash, the water reaches the whole body. Remember that Rasulullah ﷺ only made ghusl with about just over 2 liters, let's say between 2 and 3 liters of water, the whole body. So as long as the water flows on the whole body, that suffices as a ghusl. The mouth and the nose are included in it. This is for the bare minimum ghusl. We'll go through the details in a moment. As a wajib act, the next there's only one wajib act, which is to say Bismillah. Bismillah at the start. It's not fard. What is the difference between the two? That if a person was to forget a fard, meaning miss a part, does half the body only, then they would have to repeat. There's no making up for it. Forgetfulness is not an excuse. You have to redo the ghusl again, or wash the other part of the body to complete the ghusl. But Bismillah is wajib, and so if a person forgets to say it, the ghusl will be fine. But a fard will not be excused. For example, someone forgot to wash his feet, or forgot to wash his head, or forgot to wash his mouth and nose, then the ghusl will not be complete, because those are fard. The entire body, including the mouth and nose, that includes the belly button and through the whole skin. Then no place is left dry. The next are the shurut, the conditions. So there's an intention to be made. This is also compulsory. Like wudu, we make intention before it. So similarly, ghusl, there's an intention made before it. What are the intentions you can make? You can make an intention to lift both the hadith or the state of impurity that needs wudu and ghusl. So if you make it for both the minor and the major state of impurity, then both will be lifted. You'll have, at the end of this ghusl, you'll have wudu and ghusl. If your intention is a general lifting, like in your heart you make intention, make intention to lift all hadiths, then a general will suffice for both as well. You have wudu and ghusl. If you intended only specifically, exclusively janaba, that I make intention to lift the state of janaba, you will only have lifted the state of janaba. You will still have to make ghusl afterwards. The last part related to ghusl is sunnahs. So you wash your hand 3 times before. Just one of the conditions, although not mentioned here, so this is related to the shart. It's not mentioned here, it's assumed, because we already covered this in wudu, that the water that you use is tahur. Remember, there was 3 categories: tahir, tahir, and najis. So the water from the first category, tahur, pure, and it can purify. Furthermore, it has to be mubah. Water is permissible, meaning stolen water, usurped water, will not suffice for ghusl as well, like it wouldn't for wudu. These are the sunnahs, and this is taken from the description of the ghusl of Rasulullah ﷺ from the hadith of Maymuna radiallahu anha and hadith of Sayyidina Aisha radiallahu anha. So it's to wash the filth to wash the hand 3 times, to wash any filth from the body, make wudu before it, do the right side, meaning pour the water on the right side. In our time, we don't really think of that much because we're just stand under shower, but in many parts of the world, still showers or bath is made from a pot or from a bucket, and they have to use a container and then pour it on their body to rub the skin. So although the water has reached everywhere, but it's a sunnah to along with washing it, the water pouring on it is to rub it as well. To pour the water on the head thrice, and to wash the feet another spot. So this to washing feet another spot applies in the old days when people used to take a bath. So just imagine you have some najasa on your body, you wash that as well. You wash everything in the same spot. The last feet place left and the bottom of your body is the feet. It might be standing in a pool of water that is not clean, tahir. Therefore, you take a step somewhere else and you wash your feet in another a location, which doesn't really practically apply in our case today. Shaykh Amir Bahjat in the Arabic of this course interestingly mentioned about a student that when they studied at Islamic University, and his name was Abdullah bin Sakan, and he said that the way we identified people are so many Abdullah, so many Muhammad, so many Ahmad, so many Abdullah Muhammads, Abdullah bin Ahmad. So we used to, by their tribe name or other names we used to give to make sure we can distinguish between the students with similar names. And then he said was one student that his name, tribe, and so we gave him a nickname, Abdullah ibn Sakan. His name was Abdullah ibn Sakan, means the hostel where the students stay. And he was a student of Hadith sciences, and we were students of Sharia sciences. And he used to sort of reprimand us that, we were studying Bukhari at the time, and he was telling us that how can you stand before Allah on the Day of Judgment that you're a seeker of knowledge and you didn't study Bukhari, the most authentic book in Islam after the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he said that we were up to this hadith in which Sayyidina Maymuna radiallahu anha, she mentions that she gave the towel, Rasulullah was having shower, she passed the towel to him, and when she passed, falam yurid, that he did not, basically he didn't use the towel. Now if you change the middle letter to shadda in this, it means that he didn't refuse it. So it's a total opposite. He didn't use it, he didn't refuse it. Right? So the meaning entirely changes. Actually, it's the opposite meaning. So he said that it's falam yaruddo, like it's not. He did not refuse it. So he gave, and the book, the person who was reading the hadith, said the book says this. So they said we'll go to Fath al-Bari of Imam Ibn Hajar Asqalani rahimahullah, probably the best, and according to Imam Shawkani, he said la hijrah ba'd al-Fath. There's a hadith that there's no hijrah after the conquest of Makkah, after Fath. So once Fath happens, there's no hijrah. And it happens, so there's no hijrah like that, in the sense of that as it was compulsory before to migrate to Madinah Munawarra, it wasn't compulsory afterwards. At one point it was compulsory, all Muslims had to migrate to Madinah Munawarra. But anyway, so Imam Shawkani rahimahullah said this statement in regards to al-Fath. There's no hijrah after Fath, not the conquest, but after the Fath of Imam, using the hadiths regarding the book of Imam Ibn Hajar Asqalani. After you go to his book, you don't need to look at another commentary of Bukhari. So we went to Fath to check the meaning. So because coincidentally there was an Imam in the past who had his own Sahih. His name was Abu Ali ibn Sakan, like this guy. So his name matched the nickname that we given him, and his name matched. And he said that he had the same. Interestingly, he had the same view. Coincidentally, he said that he did not refuse, but Imam Ibn Hajar refuted him and said that he made a mistake. So we told him that you also, Imam Ibn Hajar Asqalani from hundreds of years ago, has refuted you in his book that Ibn Sakan, meaning you, and that Ibn Sakan in the past as well, you made this mistake. The second slide is regarding Tayammum. Tayammum is it's a replacement worship, cleanliness, a replacement purification when you don't have access to water, nor are you able to use water, for example, due to sickness, where a sickness might increase or a sickness might be prolonged, or it might even cause a sickness, so therefore in those, and of course the main reason that tayammum is used is the unavailability of water or lack of water. So similarly in this act there are fard acts, wiping the face and wiping the hands. So what it is, and I'll put a link in the description. Shaykh Al-Quaymi, there's a Hanbali Fiqh channel. Some brothers from Australia, I believe they've done it, and they put a video of Shaykh Amir explaining and showing the demonstration how to do tayammum according to the madhab, and with subtitles in Arabic and with subtitles. So you can have a look. It's a short video, under a minute, and you can have a look at that and how to do tayammum. The fard acts are to wipe the face. So you hit the ground, dust or dirt, and you pat it with your hands, and then you wipe your face, and also wipe the hands, the back of the hands. So, and then order and continuity. Now there's two types of tayammum. Or three types. You can do tayammum for wudu, because there's no water for wudu, or you're unable to do tayammum for ghusl. So we learned about ghusl. You can do tayammum for ghusl itself. And the third thing is tayammum from filth that might be in your body, unable to remove because there's no water available. All of these three are conditions for doing salat. As for tayammum for wudu, you need to do them in order, as mentioned there, and it has to be continuity because they're conditions for the validity, they're parts of wudu that they have to be done in order. The four actions. Also, the tayammum of wudu has to be done in order. Since the tayammum for wudu also has to have continuity, meaning there can't be a prolonged gap between. You can't do wipe your face in half an hour, or in wudu wash your arms and do everything and said, I'm going to wash my feet half an hour later, an hour later. This will not be a valid wudu. Similarly, in tayammum, you can't have a gap, significant, similar to wudu, you can't have a gap in the in between the two actions. But in ghusl, order and continuity are not a condition. If you're doing a tayammum for ghusl, since in a ghusl, order and continuity is not a condition, it's also not a condition in tayammum that is done for ghusl as well. So this is based on the ayat al-Quran, فَامْسَحُوا بِوُجُوهِكُمْ وَأَيْدِيكُمْ, that wipe your faces and wipe your so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala orders is actually in the ayat al-wudu, and so this is explained explicitly. As for what you do, just the definition of the hand. So Shaykh Amir explained about some of the anatomy in Arabic, that so the wrist, the hand that is mentioned in the word yad is used for wudu, but it there explicitly mentions that up to including the elbows, up to the elbows. So we know where the elbows are, and so we mentioned that. But generally, when we say hands, we understand the palms, the back up to what's called the wrist. So he explained that it's up to the core, which is the bone that comes down to the wrist. There's a bone here, which is a joint, and on the other side is kursur, and then the rusakh is the middle between these two bones. So that's where the hand is up to. That's where tayammum is up to. In the Hanbali Fiqh, in other madhab, it's up to, like wudu, it's up to the elbows. And then he explained about zand. These are the two in the forearm. There's two bones. These are connected to the rizq, to these bones. And then he explained a metaphor in Arabic where a person doesn't know his kur from his bur, and the bur, of course, is the bone that sticks out at the base of the big toe. So it's he doesn't. It's exaggeration. Somebody doesn't know anything. Like in English is there as well. He doesn't know his head from his you know what. So so this is the definition of what a hand is, and where and you'll see in the video, if you watch Shaykh Qayyim's video, then Qayyim's video, you'll see that the tayammum is only up to the wrist as per the madhab. The next is the unavailability. So to say Bismillah, like ghusl and wudu, unavailability of water after searching. So the conditions for what allows you, what makes a tayammum valid, is that the water is unavailable after searching, and this could be partial or could be total. So total means there's total absence of water. You cannot find any water. You've searched for it. You don't have any access to water. Allah save us from such a situation. And you totally cannot do anything. You cannot make any wudu in any shape or form. Then, of course, that's straightforward. If you have some water that you can use, I mean, if you need water for survival, it's a different story. Then it is again in that first category of total. But if you can use some, then you make wudu with as much as you can, and then you do tayammum. So if you can only wash your hands and face, you wash your hands and face, and then you do tayammum for the parts of wudu that cannot be made because there's insufficient water. The next condition is that salat time begins. So for each time, because it's compulsory to have tahara for each salat, then you cannot make wudu. For example, maghrib salat, you can't do tayammum, before that, like in asr time, and then use that for my. So each salat you'll have to do a new tayammum. Each salat you'll have to do a new tayammum. So when one salat time finishes, the previous tayammum is gone. You'll have to start with a new tayammum. The making the intention, and the intention could be for different reasons. One is the hadith akbar. So you could make a niyyah for tayammum to remove hadath akbar, and you can make an intention to remove hadath asghar, the minor impurity. So hadath akbar where you need ghusl, or hadath asghar you need to lift the state of hadath where you need wudu, or to remove filth on the body. So the third one, and you can make a joint intention for all of these three. And in regards to the third one, you have to make an effort to remove as much. If you only got a little bit of water, use whatever you can to remove as much najasa as you can, and then you can make that tayammum with all these joint intentions. The reasons to do it is either for fard act or nafal. There could be a fard intention to do it and a nafal. If you do for nafal, you can't use it for fard. Unlike wudu, if you make a wudu for a fard salat, sorry, if you make a wudu for nafal salat, if you make wudu for nafal salat, you can use that for fard salat, but not for tayammum. And there's a difference. Why would that be the case? There is a slight difference. The main difference is that tayammum is seen as a permitter. It's not a lifter of the state of impurity. According to the madhab, it's not seen as a replacement, but actually it's a mubih. It permits you, allows you to do salat. It doesn't lift the state of hadath in the sense of that it's unlike wudu. If you make wudu, whether it's for nafal or fard, it actually lifts up the state of impurity that you're in, that you need a wudu, for example. If you do wudu, then that lifts up that state. Now, it doesn't matter it was done for nafal, but because tayammum is a replacement, but it's only a replacement in the sense of that it's a permitter. It allows you to do these acts of ibadah as opposed to lifting the state of impurity. Dusty soil, so soil that's on the ground, where you can't just get a piece of wood and make tayammum off that. You have to have soil and or dust on the soil, or it has to be. And some books have mentioned you can move it with your hand, and so it's got to be dusty, and something should come on your hand, but it has to be soil. It cannot be soil, or I put it here as dusty soil, or dust and soil. The nullifiers for tayammum: existence of water. The existence of water. As soon as water is found, then the tayammum breaks. The time ending. So, like as I mentioned earlier, before Maghrib Salat ends, Asr Salat sun sets, the previous tayammum breaks. You make a new tayammum, and everything that breaks wudu. So everything that breaks wudu will break the tayammum, because it's like taking the place of it when you have made tayammum for wudu. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us understanding and tawfiq to practice what we say here. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.